The secret I am about to share with you tonight has transformed countless lives, and it will transform yours if you will but listen with an open heart and an awakened mind. What you really want is not separate from you. It is not something you must chase, pursue, or earn through struggle and hardship. What you really want already exists within you as a seed of possibility, waiting only for the proper soil of your consciousness to bring it forth into your physical world. You see, most people approach manifestation backwards. They look at their current circumstances and try to figure out how to change them through physical action alone. They exhaust themselves in endless doing, never realizing that all creation begins in consciousness, in the invisible realm of imagination and feeling. They work from the outside in, when the true secret is to work from the inside out. The truth I want you to grasp tonight is this: your imagination is the workshop of God within you. It is not merely a faculty for daydreaming or idle fantasy. Your imagination is the creative power of the universe expressing itself through you. When you learn to use your imagination correctly, you become the author of your own experience, the sculptor of your own destiny. But here is where most people stumble. They confuse imagination with wishful thinking. They confuse hope with faith. They confuse wanting with having. These are not the same thing, and understanding the difference is crucial to your success in manifesting what you really want. Wishful thinking says, I hope this will happen. Faith says that is already done. Hope looks to the future with uncertainty. Faith accepts the present reality of your desire fulfilled. Wanting acknowledges the absence of what you desire. Having assumes its presence and reality now. Tonight, I want you to understand that what you really want is not something you need to get. It is something you need to accept. It is not something you need to become. It is something you need to recognize you already are. The kingdom of heaven, the realm where all desires are already fulfilled, is within you. It has always been within you, waiting for you to enter and claim your inheritance. Let me share with you the fundamental principle upon which all manifestation rests. It is this: consciousness is the only reality, and what you are conscious of being you become. Your consciousness is not confined to your physical body or your present circumstances. Your consciousness is infinite, limitless, and it has the power to assume any state of being you choose. When you truly understand this principle, you realize that manifestation is not about convincing the universe to give you what you want. It is about assuming the consciousness of already having what you want and living from that assumption until it hardens into fact in your physical world. This brings us to the technique that will change your life. If you will apply it faithfully, I want you to learn the art of assumption. Assumption is the technique of assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled and persisting in that assumption until it becomes your dominant state of consciousness. Here is how you begin. First, you must become crystal clear about what you really want. Not what you think you should want. Not what others expect you to want, but what you truly desire from the depths of your being. Be specific. Be definite. Vague desires produce vague results. Once you know what you want, you must construct a scene in your imagination that implies your desire is already fulfilled. This scene should capture the essence of having what you want. It should trigger the feeling of satisfaction, gratitude, and fulfillment that you would experience if your desire were already yours. The key to success lies not in the vividness of your visualization, though that helps, but in the feeling it generates within you. You must feel the reality of your imagined scene. You must make it real to yourself through the intensity of your feeling. Feeling is the secret to all manifestation, for feeling is the language that your subconscious mind understands. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined with feeling. When you consistently imagine yourself in the state of your wish fulfilled and feel the reality of that state, your subconscious mind accepts it as fact and begins to reorganize your world to match your assumption. But here is where persistence becomes crucial. You cannot assume your desire fulfilled once or twice and then return to your old state of consciousness. You must persist in your assumption. You must live from your desired state consistently until it becomes natural to you, until it becomes your dominant mood and attitude. Most people give up too soon. They assume their wish fulfilled for a few days or weeks. And when they do not see immediate physical evidence, they abandon their assumption and return to their former state of lack and limitation. This is why they fail to manifest what they really want. Remember this, there is always a time lag between assumption and manifestation. Just as there is a gestation period between conception and birth in the physical world, there is an interval between the moment you assume your wish fulfilled and the moment it appears in your physical experience. During this interval, you must maintain your assumption with unwavering faith. Faith is not blind belief in something you hope might happen. Faith is the conscious assumption of your wish already fulfilled, maintained in the face of contradictory evidence from your senses. Faith says, "Though I do not yet see it with my physical eyes, I know it is mine because I have assumed it in consciousness." This is where most people stumble. They allow their senses to dictate their assumption. They look at their current circumstances and use them as evidence that their desire is not fulfilled. This is backwards thinking. Your senses report the past, not the future. They show you what was, not what is becoming. When you understand that your current circumstances are the result of your past assumptions, you realize that they have no power to prevent your new assumption from manifesting. Your circumstances are not fixed. They are fluid, changeable, and completely subject to your consciousness. The moment you assume your wish fulfilled and maintain that assumption, you have planted a seed in the soil of consciousness. That seed will grow and eventually produce fruit in your physical world, but only if you do not dig it up with doubt and negative assumption. Let me tell you about the power of revision. If dearly of die, you find yourself slipping back into your old state of consciousness, do not condemn yourself. Simply revise the experience. Go to your imagination and replay the scene as you wish it had been. See yourself responding from your desired state instead of your former state of lack. Revision is one of the most powerful techniques you can master because it allows you to change the meaning and emotional impact of any experience. When you revise an experience in your imagination, you change its influence on your subconscious mind and therefore on your future experiences. Every night before you sleep, review your day and revise any scenes that do not conform to your desire fulfilled. This practice will gradually transform your subconscious mind and align your entire being with your desired state of consciousness. The state of consciousness you occupy just before sleep is particularly important because it is impressed deeply upon your subconscious mind during the sleep state. This is why I recommend that you always fall asleep in the assumption of your wish fulfilled. Let the feeling of your desire already being yours be the last thing on your mind as you drift off to sleep. During sleep, your conscious mind relaxes its control, and your subconscious mind is free to accept and act upon the impressions you have given it. If you consistently fall asleep feeling grateful for your desire fulfilled, your subconscious mind will work throughout the night to make that assumption a reality in your waking world. But manifestation is not just about technique, it is about transformation. As you persist in assuming your wish fulfilled, you will find that you begin to change from within. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions will naturally align with your new assumption. You will find yourself thinking thoughts and taking actions that support your desired reality. This is the true miracle of assumption. It does not just change your external circumstances. It changes you. It transforms you into the person who naturally has what you desire. And when you become that person in consciousness, having what you want becomes inevitable. Many people resist this transformation. They want their circumstances to change, but they want to remain the same person. This is impossible. You cannot have what you have never had by remaining who you have always been. To manifest what you really want, you must be willing to become who you need to be to have it. This does not mean you must change your personality or become someone you are not. It means you must expand your consciousness to include your desired reality. You must grow into the fullness of who you are capable of being. The person you are when your desire is fulfilled is not a different person. It is the complete you, the you that has always existed in potential waiting to be realized. When you assume your wish fulfilled, you are not pretending to be someone else. You are claiming your true identity. Now, let me address a common misconception. Some people think that manifestation is about getting what you want, regardless of others or at the expense of others. This is not true. When you manifest from the highest level of consciousness, what you desire serves not only you, but the greater good. The desires that arise from your true self, from your divine nature, are never selfish or harmful. They are expressions of the infinite seeking to experience itself through you. When you fulfill these desires, you add to the richness and beauty of the world. If your desire seems to require the cooperation of others, do not concern yourself with how they will respond. When you assume your wish fulfilled, you automatically influence the consciousness of everyone involved in your desire. They will be inspired to play their part in the manifestation of your desire, and they will do so willingly and joyfully because it serves their highest good as well. This is the beauty of manifestation from divine consciousness. There are no losers, only winners. What you desire for yourself, you automatically desire for all humanity, because at the deepest level, we are all one consciousness expressing itself through many forms. Let me share with you the importance of gratitude in manifestation. Gratitude is not something you feel after you see what you want. Gratitude is the feeling that magnetizes your desire to you. When you feel genuinely grateful for your desires as if it were already yours, you align yourself with the frequency of having rather than one thing. Gratitude says, I am so thankful that I already have what I desire. It does not say, I will be grateful when I receive what I want. Present tense gratitude is one of the most powerful states of consciousness you can occupy because it assumes the reality of your desire now. Spend time each day feeling grateful for your desire fulfilled. Let gratitude fill your heart and permeate your entire being. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the peace that comes from having what you truly want. This feeling of gratitude will accelerate the manifestation of your desire beyond anything you have ever experienced. Another powerful ally in manifestation is the practice of mental dieting. Just as you are careful about what you put into your body, you must be careful about what you allow into your mind. Negative thoughts, doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs are mental junk food that pollutes your consciousness and interferes with your manifestation. Make a commitment to monitor your thoughts throughout the day. When you catch yourself thinking thoughts that contradict your desired reality, gently redirect your attention to thoughts that support it. This is not about forcing positive thinking or denying reality. It is about choosing thoughts that are aligned with the reality you want to create. Remember, every thought is a seed planted in the soil of consciousness. What kind of garden do you want to grow? Choose your thoughts as carefully as a gardener chooses seeds, knowing that what you plant today will determine what you harvest tomorrow. The power of your word is also crucial to manifestation. Your words are not just sounds that disappear into the air. They are creative forces that shape your reality. When you speak, you are literally calling things into existence. This is why you must be conscious of how you speak about yourself and your desires. Do not speak of your desire as something you want or need. Speak of it as something you have. Do not say, I want to be wealthy. Say, I am wealthy. Do not say, I hope to find love. Say, I am loved. Your words should always reflect the reality of your wish fulfilled, not the absence of it. This may feel strange at first, especially if your current circumstances contradict your words. But remember, you are not lying. You are speaking from a higher level of reality, from the consciousness where your desire is already fulfilled. As you persist in speaking this way, your words will gradually transform your experience. Let me address the question of timing. For many people become impatient when their desire does not manifest as quickly as they expect. You must understand that divine timing is perfect timing. Your desire will manifest at exactly the right moment, in exactly the right way for your highest good. Impatience is actually a form of doubt. It says, I am not sure this is working, so I need to see results now to confirm that it will work. This attitude undermines your assumption and delays your manifestation. Trust in the process, trust in the law, trust in yourself. Sometimes the delay in manifestation is necessary for you to grow into the person who can handle what you desire. Sometimes it is because other elements need to align to create the perfect conditions for your desire to appear. Sometimes it is simply because you need more time to truly embody the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Whatever the reason, accept the timing with grace and continue to persist in your assumption. Every day that passes without visible evidence is not a day of failure. It is a day of gestation, a day when your desire is growing in an invisible realm, preparing to burst forth into your visible world. The question is not whether your desire will manifest. The question is whether you will persist in your assumption long enough for it to manifest. This is entirely under your control. No external force can prevent your assumption from becoming fact if you remain faithful to it. I want you to understand that you are not at the mercy of circumstances, luck, or the whims of others. You are the operant power in your own experience. You are the author of your own story. You hold in your hands the pen with which your destiny is written. This is both the greatest privilege and the greatest responsibility you possess. You cannot blame others for your circumstances because you are the one who created them through your consciousness. But this also means you have the power to change them by changing your consciousness. Most people are unconscious creators. They create by default, allowing their subconscious assumptions to shape their reality without conscious direction. They are victims of their own unconscious patterns. But you have the opportunity to become a conscious creator, to take control of your creative power and direct it toward the fulfillment of your highest desires. The time has come for you to stop being a victim of circumstance and become the master of your fate. The time has come for you to stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to have what you want and to claim it for yourself in consciousness. What you really want is not unrealistic, impossible, or too good to be true. It is yours by divine right. It exists in consciousness, waiting for you to assume it and make it real in your physical experience. The only question is whether you will have the courage to claim it and the persistence to maintain your claim until it manifests. Tonight, as you leave this place, I want you to make a commitment to yourself. Choose one desire that you really want to manifest. Choose something that would make a significant difference in your life, something that would bring you joy, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose. Create a scene in your imagination that implies this desire is already fulfilled. Feel what it would feel like to have it now. Let that feeling fill your entire being. Then make a commitment to assume this feeling every day, especially as you fall asleep at night. Do not tell anyone what you are doing. Do not seek validation or confirmation from others. This is between you and your consciousness. Let your manifestation speak for itself when it appears in your physical world. Be prepared for your faith to be tested. Your senses will continue to report your old reality for a while. People around you may continue to see you as you were rather than as you are becoming. Do not let these temporary appearances discourage you. They are simply the echoes of your former assumptions, and they will fade as your new assumption takes hold. Remember that you are not trying to convince anyone else that your desire is fulfilled. You are only convincing yourself. And the moment you truly convince yourself, the moment you truly feel the reality of your wish fulfilled, that moment it becomes inevitable in your physical world. The law of assumption is not a theory to be debated or a philosophy to be discussed. It is a practical tool to be used. It works whether you understand how it works or not. It works whether you believe in it or not. The only requirement is that you apply it consistently and persist in your application. You have been given the greatest gift imaginable tonight. You have been shown the secret of secrets, the key that unlocks every door, the answer to every prayer. What you do with this gift is entirely up to you. You can continue to live as you have been living, accepting whatever circumstances present themselves. Or you can take control of your creative power and consciously create your truly desire. The choice is yours and no one can make it for you. I leave you tonight with this final thought. You are not here by accident. You have been drawn to this teaching because your soul is ready to claim its inheritance. Deep within you, your true self is stirring, ready to emerge and express itself through you. What you really want is not separate from who you really are. Your desires are the voice of your divine nature, calling you to expand, to grow, to become all that you are capable of being. When you answer that call and assume the consciousness of your wish fulfilled, you do not just get what you want. You become who you truly are. The power is yours. The time is now. Go forth and create the life you truly desire, knowing that it is not only possible, but inevitable when you apply the law of assumption with faith, persistence, and love. There comes a moment in every man's life when he stares into the quiet mirror of his soul and realizes this undeniable truth. No one is coming to save him. Not fate, not chance, not luck. The world will not bend for you because you wish it would. It will not hand you wealth because you dream of it. You will not drift into success like a leaf on the wind. You must move, you must rise. You must act with focus as sharp as a blade and purpose that burns hotter than fire. Focused action is not motion. It is not activity. It is not the business that keeps people spinning in circles, mistaking noise for progress. Focused action is the deliberate, disciplined assault on your dreams. It is the way warriors of destiny cut through resistance, distractions, and doubt. It is how kingdoms are built from dust, how fortunes rise from famine, how you, whoever you are, wherever you stand right now, can forge wealth in a world that owes you nothing. Think of Carnegie, the Scottish boy who began as a bobbin boy in a textile factory making $120 a week, working 12-hour days in brutal conditions. He didn't become one of the richest men in history by waiting for a break. He became that by aiming his every thought, every word, every movement toward one goal, wealth through steel. His mind didn't wander. His efforts didn't scare. He acted, not frantically, but with the unshakable precision of a man possessed. Now understand this. The world is full of dreamers, but dreamers without direction are drifters. They drift from idea to idea, project to project, hoping one of them will finally explode. They do not build wealth. They chase illusions. If you are to build real wealth, not just in your bank account, but in your mind, your spirit, your legacy, must become something different. You must become focused, ruthlessly, relentlessly focused. And then you must act again and again until the world submits. Clarity is the starting point. Wealth does not respond to confusion. The man who says he wants success has said nothing at all. What kind of success? How much wealth? Built through what means? By when? Vagueness is a curse. It is the great killer of potential. If you cannot describe your aim in detail, with fire in your eyes and certainty in your voice, then you do not yet have an aim. You have a wish, and wishes are powerless against the current of life. Edison didn't stumble onto the electric light. He pursued it with a level of obsession the average man cannot even fathom. Over 1,000 failures, not scattered attempts, focused failures, each one a lesson, not a loss. He wasn't testing ideas at random. He was narrowing in, refining, zeroing in on the precise conditions that would force the world to light up at his command. That's what focused action looks like. You must bring that level of intentionality to your days. If you wake up and let the world dictate your agenda, you have already lost. You are being pulled by invisible strings, TV and media, mails, distractions disguised as obligations. These are the chains of the poor. Break them, burn them. You need a plan. Not someday, not next year. Now you need hours accounted for, energy measured and invested, action taken, with the understanding that every choice moves you closer or further from wealth. Discipline is the armor of the focused. It is what protects your vision from erosion. Without discipline, even the most powerful vision will disintegrate. But with discipline, a weak man becomes a lion. A bankrupt man builds empires. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about respect. Respect for your future, respect for your time, respect for the fact that every day is a coin you spend. You either invest it in your dream or you waste it in someone else's. Henry Ford wasn't born into wealth. He was born on a farm. But his mind refused to remain confined by what was. He saw a future where automobiles were not luxuries for the elite but tools for the masses. People called him mad. They mocked his vision. But he didn't answer with arguments. He answered with focused action. He put his head down, built, rebuilt, studied, improved, until the world that doubted him had no choice but to drive what he built. That is the power of focus. You don't need more time. You need more intention. You don't need more resources. You need more resourcefulness. The most valuable currency in this world is not money. It is attention. Where you put your focus determines your reality. If you are focused on failure, you will find it. If you are focused on distractions, they will multiply. If you are focused on growth, on learning, on action, then that is what will expand. You must learn to guard your focus like a king guards his throne. Do not entertain the gesture of procrastination. Do not sit at the table with the thief of comparison. Do not let the beggars of instant gratification inside your gates. You are building wealth. And that means you must build a fortress in your mind, strong, clear, protected, directed. Walt Disney was not just a man with imagination. He was a man of relentless focus. When his first studio failed, he did not give up. When he lost the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, a character he created, he did not retreat. He focused harder. He doubled down. He created Mickey Mouse. He envisioned an empire. He acted toward it daily, not someday, not when the timing was perfect, daily. That is how empires rise. Not with grand gestures, but with focused, consistent actions stacked like bricks. You are not here to dabble. You are not here to chase 1,000 things. You are here to conquer one. And once you do another, then another, but never all at once. Success does not respond to divided minds. The ocean does not part for the indecisive. You must be the arrow, drawn back, tense, precise, and then released with total commitment. That is how you pierce through the noise. That is how you build wealth when others drown in distraction. The man who builds wealth does not wait for the mood to strike. He does not wait for confidence. He acts, and through action, confidence is born. Through movement, momentum is built. Through repetition, mastery is forged. Focused action is not emotional. It is a commitment, a vow, a decision made in fire, repeated in silence, honored in sweat. The reason most people never experience wealth is because they confuse motion with power. They make lists, they talk, they plan, they brainstorm, but they do not do the thing. They never take the swing. And wealth only rewards the swing, not the preparation, not the intent, the action, and not just any action. The right action, repeated, refined, focused like sunlight through a magnifying glass until it becomes a flame. You can have excuses or results. Never both. You can have comfort or growth. Never both. You can have distraction or destiny. Never both. Every second you delay someone else with less talent, less education, less experience, but more focus is outpacing you, not because they're lucky, but because they've decided that nothing will stand in the way of their action. And when that kind of decision is made, the universe bends, it responds. It opens doors where there were walls. The world does not reward potential. It rewards execution. How many men have died with brilliance in their minds, inventions in their notebooks, dreams unspoken, visions unbuilt? Cemeteries are filled with unrealized wealth because those men never acted with focus. They hesitated. They rationalized. They scattered their attention like dust in the wind, and the wind carried them nowhere. But not you. You are here to remember what the greats never forgot, that the wealth of your life will be measured not by what you had the chance to do, but by what you did deliberately, relentlessly in the face of every distraction and every doubt. Focused action is not a strategy. It is a way of being, a philosophy, a battle cry. You must become obsessed with progress, not shallow movement, but deep, intentional strides. If you want to build wealth, then every morning must become sacred. Your rituals must become weapons. Before the world begins to shout its nonsense in your ears, you must already be moving toward your target. Your focus must be locked in. No checking messages, no scrolling, no waiting. From the moment you rise, your steps must thunder with direction. It's the principle of directed energy, a focus of action. So ask yourself now, not tomorrow, not later, where is your energy going? Where is your focus bleeding out? How many hours have you given to the meaningless? How many days have you surrendered to confusion, to fear, to distraction disguised as productivity? And what would happen if you pulled all that energy back and pointed it like a spear into the heart of your vision? The world shifts for the focused. Doors open, ideas clarify, people align. When you show up with intention, the fog clears. Focus attracts clarity the way a magnet pulls iron, but it does more than attract. It shapes. It transforms you into someone the universe can trust with wealth. Wealth is not just about having money, it's about having mastery. Over your thoughts, over your time, over your habits, a rich man without focus will squander his fortune, but a poor man with intense focus will create one. The difference is not in what you have, it's in how you aim what you have. Are your skills aligned to your purpose? Are your hours aligned to your mission? Are your words aligned to your vision? And if not, fix it today. Ruthlessly eliminate what is not building your future. You don't have time for half-effort friendships, lukewarm goals, or opportunities that steal your focus and offer nothing but ego crumbs in return. You are not building a castle of sand. You are constructing a fortress of legacy brick by brick with the cement of discipline and the fire of execution. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." But hear me, sharpening the axe is not passive. It is focused preparation. It is deliberate alignment. Most people never sharpen the axe. They just swing wildly and wonder why the tree won't fall. But Lincoln knew preparation without focus is useless. Focus without action is paralysis. But together, sharpened focus followed by strategic strikes, that's unstoppable. You must begin to see your time as sacred currency. Every minute wasted is a withdrawal from your future wealth. Every distraction indulged is a tax on your destiny. You have 24 hours like everyone else, the rich, the poor, the genius, the fool, but it's not the hours that make the difference. It's how fiercely, how intelligently, and how consistently those hours are aimed. Be like Tesla, who worked through nights, fueled not by caffeine, but by an electric obsession to bring his vision to life. He didn't dabble. He didn't multitask. He gave his entire mind to one thing at a time, and because of that, he left a legacy that still powers cities and lights the sky. You do not need more motivation, you need more motion, because motivation fades. But focused action creates a fire that fuels itself. And once you taste the momentum, once you see even one day where your mind, your body, your time were all aligned to one target, you will never want to live any other way again. That feeling, that surge, is what separates the builders from the talkers, the wealthy from the wishful. Most people confuse ambition with action. They feel ambitious. They talk big. They post quotes. But their feet never move, or worse, they move in every direction. You don't need more goals. You need more execution, more follow-through, more days where your calendar reflects your calling, not your cravings. Wealth responds to action that compounds, not inspiration that fades. If you do not control your focus, the world will, and it will rent your attention for pennies. It will convince you that checking notifications is productive, that researching endlessly is the same as starting, that talking about your vision is the same as building it. But deep down, you know it isn't. You know that wealth is forged in the silence, in the doing, in the hours when no one is watching and every excuse begs you to stop. But you keep going, because you've chosen. You've locked in, you've aimed your life like a missile, and now nothing will stop you from hitting your target. This is how wealth is built, not in the stock market, not in some secret business hack, but in the mind of a person who says, I will focus, I will act, I will not stop until I win. The secret that the masses will never understand is this: success is not complicated, it is just hard. And because it is hard, they avoid it, they rationalize, they seek shortcuts, gimmicks, systems that promise everything and require nothing. But those who build wealth, real unshackable generational wealth, know better. They know the game is won not by the man who starts strong, but by the man who stays focused when the thrill wears off, the man who keeps swinging long after the crowd goes home. You see, distractions will beg for your attention. They'll wear the mask of urgency. They'll whisper just 5 minutes and steal 5 hours. But if you want wealth, you cannot afford to be seduced by the temporary. You must be willing to be misunderstood, to be mocked, to be alone. Because focus, real focus, is lonely. It separates you, it isolates you. But that is the price of greatness. That is the toll you must pay to rise while others remain asleep in mediocrity. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence in silence while the storm of war brewed outside his window. His mind didn't wander. His pen didn't tremble. He knew the power of concentrated energy, and he funneled it into words that would spark a revolution. That's the level of focus required to build something eternal. You are not just building wealth. You are building a revolution in your own life. And revolutions do not come from scattered effort. They come from a soul on fire with intention. A man who has burned the ships and decided, I will not return to a life of distraction and drift. I will march forward with fire in my chest and steel in my spine, and I will take what is mine. Your vision must become your obsession. Your routine must become your battleground. Every morning you wake up, you are either at war with your old habits or building a new empire. There is no neutral. There is no pause. The mind, like a muscle, will default to weakness unless it is trained with ruthless consistency. Discipline is your sword. Focus is your shield. Action is your path. You must learn to love the process more than the promise. To fall in love with the act of doing, not just the dream of having. Because the dream will seduce you, but the process will shape you. It is in the early hours, in the repetition, in the relentless pursuit, that is where wealth is born. Ask any titan of industry, any master of their craft, and they will tell you. Success did not arrive in a sudden gust of luck. It came in layers, in months and years of saying no to the easy path, saying no to doubt, saying no to anything that did not serve their highest aim. They moved like generals commanding their time, their attention, their action, not perfectly, but purposefully. And you must do the same. Every action must be filtered through a single burning question. Does this move me closer to my vision? If the answer is no, cut it. If the answer is maybe, cut it. Your time is too precious. Your focus is too sacred. You're not here to waste your life making decisions based on convenience or comfort. You're here to build. Focused action is not about speed. It's about accuracy. The archer doesn't fire 10 arrows in panic. He draws one, steadies his breath, aims with unwavering focus, and then lets go. That one arrow, launched with intention, will do more than 100 flung at random. Your wealth depends not on how much you do, but how precisely you do it. This is where most fail. They confuse movement with mastery. They fill their days with low-level tasks, respond to every message, say yes to every request, and wonder why nothing changes. But the man of wealth guards his time like treasure. He says no often. He prioritizes what matters. He delegates the small, automates the trivial, and locks in on the mission. Because he knows, and you must know, that every yes to the wrong thing is a no to the right one. Every distraction accepted is progress delayed. Every misaligned task is a leak in the vessel of your success. Plug the leaks, fortify your routine, sharpen your execution, and above all act, not with desperation, not in frenzy, and not in flow, not to look busy, to become undeniable. Focused action doesn't feel like hype. It feels like stillness in motion, like the eye of a hurricane, calm, controlled, yet unstoppable. That is what you're training for. That is what you're becoming. Understand this. Your future wealth is already available to you. The opportunity exists. The tools exist. The ideas, the platforms, the channels, all there. The only missing element is your focused execution. And once you apply that, the dam breaks. The results compound. The life you've imagined begins to harden into reality. And yes, it will be hard. It will test you. You'll have days where the results don't match the effort, where silence greets your output, where nothing seems to be working. That's the valley every builder walks through. But the wealth is not just at the peak. It's in who you become by climbing, the strength you gain by continuing, the mindset you forge by not quitting. This is not just about making money. This is about making meaning, about becoming someone who doesn't need motivation and because purpose is taken over, someone who no longer needs validation because the work itself is enough, someone who wakes up knowing exactly what matters, exactly what to do, and exactly how to do it, and then does it. You want wealth? Then marry focus and action. Become the person who cannot be shaken, who cannot be distracted, who moves like a storm with a map, powerful but directed. When others quit, you refine. When others talk, you execute. When others wait, you launch. Because the time is now. The window is open. The opportunity is not coming. It's already here, staring you in the face, daring you to rise. And the only thing it demands, your full, undivided, relentless, focused action. You cannot negotiate with your dreams. You cannot plead with your future. You either rise and meet it with force, or you watch it drift into the hands of someone bolder, someone more focused, someone who took action while you hesitated. The harsh truth is this: life does not care about your intentions. The universe does not reward you for wanting. It rewards you for becoming. And becoming is not passive, it is a daily choice, forged in motion, tempered in fire. Every time you act with intention, you are casting a vote for the man you're becoming. Not the man you wish you were. Not the man you talk about in passing. The man you prove yourself to be through disciplined, focused motion. You think Warren Buffett built a financial empire by reacting to the noise of every market swing. No, he built it through quiet conviction, through deep focus, through action guided by clarity, not chaos. He knew where to look, knew when to strike, and most importantly, he knew when to wait with purpose. Because even stillness, when chosen intentionally, is a form of focused action. But what about you? Are you still waiting for permission? Still waiting for the perfect plan, the ideal timing, the right partner? Hear this now. That hesitation is your enemy, and every day you wait to begin is a day stolen from your destiny. Carnegie didn't wait. He learned as he went. He acted as he climbed. And in doing so, he turned steel into an empire and silence into legacy. Disney didn't wait for comfort. He was broke, rejected, doubted, and he kept building anyway. Kept drawing, kept dreaming, kept acting. He knew that the only way to change the world is to stop waiting for it to change you. You are not here to coast. You are not here to dabble. You are here to dominate, to narrow your attention so fully that every cell in your body vibrates toward a singular vision, to become so clear, so dialed in that your days become a machine of momentum. That's when life shifts. That's when wealth begins to chase you. And yes, it will feel unnatural because the world is built to scatter you. Your phone is engineered to steal your focus. Media is designed to addict you to the irrelevant. Distractions are weapons against your greatness. Every alert is a test. Will you give in to the trivial or stand guard at the gates of your mind? Guard it. Act it like gold because your focus is gold. It is the currency of kings, the root of all achievement, the master key to every locked door. You must learn to treat it with reverence, with fire, with obsession. And from that guarded mind, you act every single day, even if it's not perfect, especially if it's not perfect, because perfection is not the goal. And what is? Clarity is forged through movement. Momentum breeds confidence. And confidence. Confidence is what allows you to scale, not just financially, but mentally, spiritually, generationally. When you operate from focus, when you move with action, you do more than build wealth. You build power. You build peace. You build freedom. Because wealth without freedom is just a cage with velvet bars. But wealth earned through focused action, that is sovereignty. That is dominion over your time, your choices, your life. And here's what they don't teach in school. Discipline doesn't kill creativity and it awakens it. Action doesn't trap you, it frees you. Focus doesn't limit you. It gives you range. It gives you reach. It gives you influence. The world only listens to those who've proven they can command themselves. You cannot lead markets, people, or missions if you cannot first lead your mind. That leadership starts now, not next week, not when things settle down. You know they won't. There will always be a new excuse, always a new fire to put out. But the fire worth feeding is the one in your soul, the one that says, no more waiting, no more drifting. I'm taking the wheel. I'm driving this life and I will not be stopped. That fire is what fuels the late nights when no one's cheering. That fire is what gets you up before the world wakes. That fire is what makes your work undeniable because it's not powered by hype. It's powered by decision. Focused action is the great equalizer. It doesn't care where you were born. It doesn't care about your degree, your family name, your past mistakes. All it asks is this: can you aim your energy like a laser? Can you show up with discipline? Can you act when it's not exciting? Can you keep going when there's no applause? Because the moment you say yes, truly, deeply, without flinching, the path begins to rise beneath your feet. People will feel your intensity, resources will find you, synchronicities will align, and the man you were meant to become will begin to emerge from the man you were afraid to leave behind. This is not theory. This is not philosophy written on a page. This is war, and the battlefield is your attention. The weapon is your will. The victory, it is everything you ever dreamed of, less so and more. So build your life like a man possessed. Build your mornings with purpose. Build your thoughts like architecture, deliberate, designed, precise. And above all, build your wealth through action that cannot be shaken, distracted, or delayed. One aim, one mission, one relentless pursuit. This is your time. This is your season. This is your wealth waiting on the other side of your focused action. So now we come to the final test, the moment when your old life begs for you to return, when the voices get louder, when fear grows fangs and doubt dresses in logic, when the comfortable path shines like a trap coated in gold. This is where most men retreat, but not you, because you've heard something deeper. You've awakened something ancient. The part of you that remembers, and not the man you've been, but the man you were meant to be. You were never meant to tiptoe through life hoping to avoid failure. You were built to move mountains. You were wired to endure storms. You were designed to rise. And now, armed with the clarity of focus and the fire of action, you are unstoppable. Do you understand what that means? It means you are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You no longer wait for opportunity, and you create it. You don't beg for success. You command it. You don't chase wealth. You become the source of it. You are the factory of your own fortune, the architect of your new reality. And it is focused action that powers every brick you lay, every risk you take, every door you kick open. When you walk into a room, people will feel it, that unshakable energy that comes from a man who knows where he's going. You won't need to speak louder. You won't need to explain yourself. Your results will echo through the silence. But remember this: focused action is not a one-time decision. It is a daily vow, a ritual, a sharpening of the sword before battle. Every morning, every evening, every moment, your mind begins to wander from the mission. You don't ask, am I motivated? You ask, what must be done? You don't say, I'll try. You declare, I execute. You don't wait for the tide to turn. You become the tide. This is how dynasties are built. This is how legacies are forged, not through scattered effort or flashes of inspiration, but through consistent, deliberate, relentless action. It's how Henry Ford, a man with barely a formal education, defied the odds and built an empire that revolutionized the world. He wasn't the smartest, he wasn't the most charming, but he was focused. He was obsessed. He saw what others could not see because he looked longer, dug deeper, moved faster, with purpose. That's the formula. Focus plus execution, repeated daily until the world bends to your will. That's how empires rise. That's how lives transform. That's how you go from invisible to undeniable. So what now? You close this gap between who you are and who you could be. You burn the blueprint of your old life. You throw every ounce of scattered, distracted, weak energy into the fire. And you walk forward with nothing but your vision, your discipline, and your refusal to break. Let them doubt you. Let them mock you. Let them say it's impossible. You know the truth. You've tasted it. And now you will live it. You don't need more time. You need more intention. You don't need more information. You need more execution. You don't need more applause. You need more focus. This is your line in the sand. From this day forward, you do not move without purpose. You do not speak without direction. You do not act without clarity, because every moment of your life is an investment in your legacy. And you are not here to build a life that merely looks good. You are here to build a life that feels right, a life you own, a life built from the inside out, not the outside in, a life so aligned with truth, so charged with action that wealth doesn't just find you, it flows from you. You are not the victim of your past. You're not the servant of your excuses. You're not the prisoner of distraction. You're the master of your fate. And your weapon is focused action. So rise. Show the world what happens when a man becomes possessed by purpose. Show them what it looks like when clarity meets execution. Show them what becomes of a life built brick by brick, moment by moment, in fire and discipline, and sacred, untouchable focus. This is how you build wealth. This is how you build you. And this is how you become unforgettable. Now go, and never look back. You must keep in mind the following. Repetition is the sculptor of your destiny. You will not become what you visualize once. You will become what you visualize consistently, daily, obsessively, until your brain starts adjusting your behaviors, your standards, your environment to match that inner self-image. That's not magic. That's biology. So listen this lesson again and again and again until it gets installed in your brain and in your subconscious mind until you realize the results you seek. The world that you perceive is not causing your feelings of happiness or unhappiness. Rather, your state of consciousness is projecting itself outward and being reflected back to you as your experience. The world is yourself pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every condition in your life is a shadow of your own consciousness made visible. And if you wish to change your experience, if you wish to experience happiness every day, you must make the adjustment within consciousness first. How do we make this adjustment? Through the wonderful human faculty of imagination. Imagination is not, as many suppose, a fantasy or an escape from reality. Imagination is the very substance of reality. The creative power through which all things are made manifest. By faith, we understand that the world was framed by the Word of God, and that faith is the substance of things hopeful, the evidence of things not seen. Your imagination is this substance, this evidence, this creative work. Consider for a moment, what is the feeling of happiness? Is it not a definite, specific sensation that you can recall to mind? Can you not remember moments of joy, of contentment, of peace that filled your being? That memory, that feeling, Joan, is a state of consciousness. It is as real and as tangible to your inner awareness as any physical object is to your outer senses. Now here is the secret I wish to impart to you. You can enter that state at will. You can make the conscious decision to inhabit the state of happiness regardless of external circumstances. And when you persist in that state, holding it faithfully in your imagination as your present reality, the outer world must reshape itself to match your inner assumption. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. This ancient wisdom reveals the process by which your life is shaped. Your thoughts, especially those charged with feeling, are the patterns which crystallize into the events and circumstances of your life. Think of happiness, feel happiness, and you must express happiness. The law knows no exceptions. Let me share with you a simple technique that I have taught to countless students who have proven its efficacy in their lives. I call it the state akin to sleep. In this relaxed, drowsy state between wakefulness and sleep, the conscious analytical mind becomes less active and the subconscious becomes more receptive to suggestion. As you lie in bed tonight, close your eyes and relax your body completely. Feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper, a comfortable, peaceful state. Now, in this receptive condition, begin to imagine that you are already the embodiment of happiness. Feel the lightness in your chest, the smile that wants to form on your lips, the warmth that spreads throughout your being when you are genuinely happy. Do not merely think about being happy. Actually enter the feeling of happiness. This is critical. Your subconscious mind does not respond to idle intellectual concepts, but to emotions, to the feeling tones that accompany your thoughts. Feel happy now and know that this feeling is the creative power that will reshape your tomorrow. While in this state, construct a simple scene that would imply your wish fulfilled. Perhaps you see yourself going about your day with a profound sense of joy and gratitude. Perhaps you hear a friend remarking on your consistent happiness. Make the scene as real as possible. Employ all your senses. See the details, hear the sounds, feel the textures associated with this scene. Then, as you begin to drift off to sleep, carry this feeling of happiness with you into slumber. You need not concern yourself with the how or the when of your manifestation. Remember the words, I am the way, the state of consciousness that you assume, the I am happy that you feel is true, contains within itself all the causes, all the plans, all the energy required for its expression in your outer world. Do not make the mistake of saying, I will be happy when this place is happiness in the future, where it forever remains. Instead, capture the feeling of happiness now, for there is only now in consciousness. The eternal now is the time in which all creation takes place. Many will tell you that happiness depends on certain conditions being met, that you must possess specific things, achieve particular milestones, or be surrounded by the right people. This is the great illusion. Happiness is not the result of favorable circumstances. Favorable circumstances are the result of adopting and maintaining the consciousness of happiness. Consider the testimony found in Scripture before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. The fulfillment precedes the asking in the realm of consciousness. As you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you've already received that which you desire in the one reality that matters, the reality of consciousness. Now let me address a question that may arise in your mind. If consciousness is the only reality, why does my world not immediately reflect the changes I make within? The answer lies in what I term the law of assumption. When you assume a state, it has its own appointed hour for externalization. It will ripen and flower in the garden of your life according to its own internal timing. Do not be discouraged if the outer world seems slow to respond to your inner changes. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. The delay is not denial. The seed of happiness planted in consciousness must go through its natural development before it appears as the fruit of experience. During this interval between your inner assumption and its outer manifestation, you must persevere in maintaining your new state of consciousness. This is where faith becomes essential, not faith in some external power, but faith in the law that connects inner cause to outer effect. Faith in the reality of your own wonderful human imagination. Let me tell you of a student who came to me in despair. For years, she had struggled with persistent unhappiness. Despite external achievements, a successful career, a loving family, material comforts, she felt the constant undercurrent of dissatisfaction and anxiety. Each morning, she would wake with a sense of dread. Each day was merely something to be endured. I instructed her in this law of consciousness that I share with you now. I told her, instead of waiting to feel happy because your circumstances have changed, change your feeling first. And watch how your circumstances transform to match your new inner state. She began the practice of capturing the feeling of happiness each night before sleep. She would imagine her friends commenting on her joyful demeanor. She would feel herself moving through her day with a light heart and a deep sense of contentment. Most importantly, she persisted in this practice night after night, regardless of what her external senses reported during the day. Regardless of what her external senses reported during the day. Within 2 weeks, she reported that she was waking with a sense of anticipation rather than dread. Small irritations that once would ruin her day were now barely noticed. She found herself laughing more easily, appreciating simple pleasures she had previously overlooked. And gradually, the very circumstances of her life began to shift. Relationships improved, creative solutions to long-standing problems emerged, and opportunities that perfectly matched her desires seemed to appear from nowhere. Was this mere coincidence? Absolutely not. It was the law of consciousness in operation. All that befalls a man, all that is done by him, all that comes from him happens as a result of his state of consciousness. She had changed the cause, and the effect followed naturally. Now, I am not suggesting that challenges will never arise in your life once you master this principle. What I am telling you is that your reaction to those challenges will be completely transformed. From the consciousness of happiness, you will see even apparent obstacles as opportunities for growth and greater expression. Remember the words of Scripture, "In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." The I that has overcome the world is your own wonderful consciousness, when it is anchored in the awareness of your true identity. For you are not merely a physical being having occasional spiritual experiences. You are a spiritual being having a temporary physical experience. The real you, the essential you, is pure consciousness, the I am that exists before and beyond all conditions, all circumstances, all states of the outer world. When you truly realize this, happiness becomes your natural state. How could it be otherwise? If you are one with the creative power of the universe, if all things are possible to your consciousness, if the very substance of your being is the substance of God, what is there to fear? What is there to lack? What is there to disturb your fundamental peace and joy? Let me give you another practical exercise to reinforce this understanding. Throughout your day, whenever you notice yourself feeling anything less than happy, perhaps irritated by traffic, worried about finances, or frustrated by another person's behavior, pause and remind yourself, this feeling is coming from my consciousness, not from my circumstances. Take a deep breath, close your eyes if possible, and deliberately shift your inner attention to the feeling of happiness. Feel it as vividly as you can for just 30 seconds. Then open your eyes and continue with your day from this adjusted state of consciousness. At first, this may seem artificial or forced. You may think, but I don't really feel happy right now. I'm just pretend this. What you call pretending is actually the creative act of assuming a new state of consciousness. The feeling may seem borrowed at first, but with persistence it becomes your own. As the poet said, assume a virtue if you have it not. By assuming the state of happiness, you are actually awakening to a truth about yourself that has always been present but unrecognized. Consider how you learned any skill in your life, whether playing a musical instrument, driving a car, or mastering a sport. Did you not go through an initial period where your actions felt natural, where you had to consciously think about every movement, yet with practice, these actions became second nature, effortless, a natural expression of your being? So it is with happiness. What begins as a conscious practice becomes your spontaneous way of being in the world. Let me emphasize another crucial point. This practice is not about denial or suppression of your current feelings. If you are experiencing sadness, anger, or fear, acknowledge these emotions with honesty and compassion. Then, make the conscious choice to shift to the state of happiness, not as an escape from your feelings, but as an act of creative transformation. Remember that in consciousness, nothing is ever imposed from without. All change begins with your consent, with your willingness to entertain a new conception of yourself and your world. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. The state of happiness is always available, always present, waiting only for your invitation to enter and take up residence in your awareness. Now, I want to address a common misconception. Many believe that happiness requires constant stimulation, new possessions, exciting experiences, passionate relationships. They rush from one thing to another, always seeking but never finding the lasting happiness they desire. This is because they have confused pleasure with happiness. Pleasure depends on external stimuli. It comes and goes as circumstances change. True happiness arises from within. It is the natural radiation of a consciousness that knows itself as complete, as connected to the source of all life, as fundamentally safe and at home in the universe. This inner happiness brings with it a profound sense of peace. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. The world gives peace conditionally when your desires are fulfilled, when problems are solved, when threats are removed. The peace that comes with true happiness is unconditional. It remains steady through all the changing scenes of life. I want you to realize how powerful this knowledge makes you. When you understand that happiness is a choice made in consciousness rather than a reaction to circumstances, you reclaim your creative authority in life. You are no longer at the mercy of people, events, or conditions beyond your control. You become the conscious author of your own experience. Look back at your life and notice how your dominant feeling states have manifested as your experiences. Have there been periods when anxiety was your prevailing mood? Did those periods coincide with a series of troubling events and difficult relationships? Have there been times when confidence and optimism filled your being? Did those times bring experiences that confirmed your positive expectations? This is not mere coincidence or selective perception. This is the law of consciousness demonstrating itself in your life. To him that hath shall be given. When you have the consciousness of happiness, more experiences that support and increase that happiness are drawn to you by spiritual law. Now let me share with you what I consider the ultimate secret to living in happiness every day. The practice of gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a polite response to receiving what you want. Gratitude is a creative power that opens you to receive even greater good. When you give thanks for what you already have, you acknowledge the presence of abundance in your life. When you give thanks in advance for what you desire, as if it were already accomplished, you are exercising the highest form of faith. Therefore, I say unto you what things soever you desire. When you pray, believe that you receive them and ye shall have them. Each night before you sleep, take inventory of all that you can be thankful for in your life. Begin with the most basic gifts, the breath in your lungs, the heart beating in your chest, the consciousness that allows you to be aware of your own existence. Move on to the relationships, the comforts, the opportunities that grace your days. Feel the warmth of genuine gratitude filling your being. Then, give thanks for the specific manifestations of happiness that you desire to experience, speaking of them as if they are already present in your life. I am so grateful now that every day I awaken with joy and move through my hours with a deep sense of contentment and peace. Thank you, Father. In this practice of gratitude, you are aligning yourself with the creative principle of the universe. You are acknowledging that consciousness is cause, not effect. You are stepping into the truth that happiness is your natural state, your divine inheritance, your present reality once you claim it. Now, I wish to emphasize that this practice, like any skill, requires commitment and persistence. The habits of thought and feeling that have shaped your life until now have momentum. They will not be replaced overnight, but neither should you become discouraged by what appears to be slow progress. Each moment that you succeed in capturing and maintaining the feeling of happiness is a victory. Each time you catch yourself in a negative state and consciously shift to a positive one, you are strengthening a new neural pathway, establishing a new pattern in consciousness that will eventually become your default state. And remember this, you do not need to generate happiness from nothing. You are simply removing the blocks that have prevented you from experiencing the happiness that is already your true nature. Like the sun that is always shining above the clouds, your natural state of joy and peace is always present, waiting only for the clouds of contrary thoughts and feelings to disperse. Let me offer you another practical technique that many of my students have found valuable. I call it revision. At the end of each day, before you sleep, review the events that transpire. If there were moments when you reacted with anything less than happiness, perhaps impatience with a colleague, frustration in traffic, worry about a financial matter, mentally revise those scenes. See yourself responding with calm, with joy, with the unshakable knowledge that all is well. Feel how differently those scenarios would have unfolded had you maintained your state of happiness. This is not mere wishful thinking or fantasy. You are actually rewriting the patterns in consciousness that will shape your tomorrows. As a man soweth, so shall he reap. If you sow revised versions of today's experiences into your consciousness, you will reap the benefits in the experiences of your future days. This practice also frees you from carrying the burden of regret, resentment, or worry into your sleep state, ensuring that your subconscious mind has positive images and feelings to work with during the night. I want to touch upon another aspect of daily happiness that is often overlooked, your concept of self. How do you define yourself? What story do you tell about who you are? Many people have unconsciously accepted definitions of themselves that make happiness difficult, if not impossible, to attain. Perhaps you think of yourself as someone who is easily hurt, quick to anger, prone to worry, or destined to struggle. These self-concepts are not facts. They are assumptions that you have accepted as true, and they shape your experience according to the law we have been discussing. I urge you to examine your habitual thoughts about yourself. Listen to the statements that follow the words I am in your internal dialogue. I am anxious. I am overwhelmed. I am not good enough. These are not innocent descriptions. They are powerful creative declarations. From this day forward, guard the portals of your mind. Be vigilant about the self-definitions you accept and the I am statements you make. Whether silently or aloud, begin to consciously choose statements that align with your desire for daily happiness. I am naturally joyful. I am at peace regardless of circumstances. I am the embodiment of happiness. At first, these new self-concepts may feel like affirmations rather than authentic expressions. But remember, all change in consciousness begins with a deliberate assumption. As you persist in your new self-definition, it will become your reality. Put off the old man with his deeds and put on the new man. This is the essence of transformation. Another crucial aspect of maintaining daily happiness is your relationship with the present moment. Most unhappiness stems from dwelling on past regrets or worrying about future possibilities, neither of which exist in the reality of now. The past exists only as memory, the future only as imagination. The only point of creative power, the only moment in which you can experience happiness, is the eternal present. Practice bringing your attention fully into the now. Notice the tendency of your mind to wander into scenarios of what was or what might be, and gently guide it back to the present. This is not to say that you should never plan for the future or learn from the past, but rather that you do so from the conscious of present happiness rather than from anxiety or regret. Take no thought for the morrow, for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. This is not an invitation to irresponsibility, but a profound psychological principle. When you are fully present, fully aware, fully alive in this moment, you access a wisdom and creativity that far exceeds the capabilities of the worried planning mind. Let me share another secret that has helped countless individuals maintain happiness through even the most challenging circumstances: the practice of seeing God in everything and everyone. By God, I do not mean a distant deity separate from creation, but rather the one consciousness, the one life, the one love that expresses itself through all forms and beings. When you look at another person and remember that the same consciousness that animates you animates them, that at the deepest level beyond all appearances of separation, you are one being having different experiences, how can you harbor resentment, judgment, or fear? When you look at a difficult situation and recognize it as a particular pattern of the one consciousness temporarily expressing itself in that form, how can you resist or reject what is essentially yourself? This recognition leads naturally to compassion, to acceptance, to a profound peace that transcends the dualistic perspective of good versus bad events. It does not mean that you never work to improve conditions, but rather that you do so from a center of loving awareness rather than fear or aversion. I and my Father are one. When you live from this truth, happiness is not something you pursue or achieve. It is the natural radiation of your authentic being. It flows from you as light flows from the sun without effort, without condition, simply because it is your nature to shine. Now, there may be times when, despite your best efforts, you find yourself unable to capture the feeling of happiness. In these moments, do not add the burden of self-judgment to whatever difficulty you are experiencing. Remember that you are in the process of rewiring patterns of thought and feeling that may have been established over many years. Be gentle with yourself as you would with a child learning to walk. If happiness seems out of reach, begin with whatever positive feeling you can access, perhaps calm or curiosity or determination. Any movement up the emotional scale is progress. From a slightly improved state, it becomes easier to make the next shift in the next, until happiness is once again within your grasp. Also, remember that what we are discussing is not a superficial positivity that denies the full range of human experience. True happiness is not the absence of challenges or difficult emotions. It is the presence of an underlying peace and trust in life that allows you to move through all experiences with grace and wisdom. You need not fear your emotions or suppress your authentic responses to life. Feel fully whatever arises in your awareness, but do not identify with temporary states as if they were your essential being. You are not your anger, your sadness, your fear. You are the consciousness in which these feelings appear, exist for a time, and then dissolve. I want to emphasize once more that this work of consciousness is not merely for your personal happiness, although that is certainly a worthy aim. As you master the art of maintaining a consistently positive state, you become a powerful influence for good in the lives of everyone you encounter. Remember that according to the law we have been discussing, your consciousness is continually projecting itself and being reflected back as your experience. This includes your experience of other people. As you hold the consciousness of happiness, you will begin to evoke the best in others. You will see expressions of joy, kindness, and cooperation that might have remained dormant had you approached from a different state. This is not manipulation, but a natural resonance. As above, so below. As within, so without. The state you embody calls forth a corresponding response from the world around you. In this way, your personal practice becomes a gift to humanity, a light that illuminates the path for others. Consider for a moment how different would our world be if each person understood and applied this law of consciousness. If instead of trying to change others, to force external conditions, to fight against what is, each individual took responsibility for their inner state and maintained the consciousness of happiness regardless of circumstances, we would witness a revolution more profound than any political or economic movement in history. For all outer revolutions, however well-intentioned, eventually recreate the same problems in new forms when consciousness remains unchanged. But a revolution in consciousness, a mass awakening to the creative power of our own awareness, would transform our world from the inside out. The kingdom of God cometh not with observation, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. The world of peace, of harmony, of shared prosperity that humanity has long dreamed of cannot be imposed by external authority or achieved through conflict. It can only emerge as the natural expression of a new state of consciousness embraced by individuals one by one until it reaches critical mass. Your commitment to maintaining the state of happiness is therefore not merely a personal indulgence. It is your contribution to the evolution of human consciousness, your role in the great awakening that is the true destiny of our species. Now, as you integrate these principles into your daily life, I suggest that you keep a simple journal of your experiences. Each day record instances when you successfully maintain your happiness despite challenging circumstances. Note any external changes that seem to reflect your inner state. Document moments of synchronicity, of wishes fulfilled, of prayers answered. This journal will serve several purposes. It will reinforce your understanding of the law through your own direct experience. It will provide evidence that will strengthen your faith when doubts arise, and it will become a map of your journey from seeking happiness in external conditions to knowing it as your own essential nature. As this practice becomes established in your life, you may notice something remarkable. The very things you once pursued in the hope that they would make you happy, relationships, achievements, possessions, begin to flow into your experience effortlessly. Yet you receive them with a new awareness. You recognize that they are not the cause of your happiness, but the effect of it. You enjoy them fully without becoming dependent on them for your sense of well-being. This is the promise of the Scripture. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. The kingdom is the state of consciousness that knows itself as one with the creative power. Righteousness is not moral perfection as commonly understood, but rather right consciousness, the aligned awareness that naturally expresses its harmony, abundance, and joy. When you seek and find this state within yourself, when you make your home in the consciousness of happiness regardless of external conditions, you have discovered the secret of not just occasional happiness, but of being happy every day of your life. Let me conclude with this reminder. You are not a human being seeking a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. The happiness you seek is not a distant goal to be achieved through struggle and sacrifice. It is the truth of your being waiting to be recognized and expressed. Right now, in this moment, happiness is available to you. It requires no prerequisites, no qualifications, no external validation. It asks only for your willingness to shift your attention from the shadow world of effects to the causal realm of consciousness. It invites you to remember who you truly are and to live from that remembrance. Will you accept this invitation? Will you make the commitment to maintain the state of happiness regardless of what appears in your outworld? Will you persist in this practice until it becomes your natural way of being? The choice is yours as it has always been, for you are the operant power in your world. You are the consciousness through which the infant expresses itself in the particular. You are the I am that can decree a thing and see it established unto you. Choose happiness now. Feel it as vividly as you can. Know it as your birthright, your natural state, your true identity. And watch as your world transforms to reflect this inner commitment. Remember always all things whatsoever you shall ask in prayer, believing you shall receive. The feeling of happiness held faithfully in consciousness is the prayer that cannot fail to be answered. It is the seed that contains within itself the flower of a joyful life. Be still and know that you are the consciousness in which all things live and move and have their being. Rest in that awareness. Trust the law that links inner cause to outer effect. Have faith in the creative power of your own wonderful imagination. And from this day forward, move through your life with the unshakable conviction that happiness is not a fleeting emotion dependent on favorable circumstances, but the very essence of your being expressing itself through all the changing scenes of your human journey. It is done. You are happiness itself made manifest in human form. You are the embodiment of joy, the expression of divine delight, the incarnation of boundless bliss. And as you accept this truth, as you live from this awareness, you fulfill the ancient promise. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. Go now in the peace that passes understanding, in the joy that needs no outer cause, in the happiness that is your eternal nature, and share this gift with everyone you meet, not through preaching or persuasion, but through the silent testimony of your own radiant being. For in the end, the greatest gift you can give to others is the example of a life lived in the conscious awareness of its own divine nature. A life of unshakable peace, of unconditional love, and of happiness that shines forth every day in all circumstances as naturally as the sun gives light to the world.